What's good, all my trader and investor homies? It's your boy Kevin. This is Touchdown Trades, home of your trading BFF in your stock market bestie. In today's video, we're going to be talking about a clean energy stock that is up a couple thousand% in just the last few weeks. The narrative has been over the last couple of years that EV is the future, and I completely agree with that. We've seen EV stocks take off and make huge runs. Tesla, NIO, Workhorse, the list goes on and on and on. EV stocks have been on fire. The stock we're going to be breaking down today is a clean energy stock. It is looking to reduce the amount of carbon emissions that the vehicles we use every single day put out. However, it is not an EV stock. We're going to be breaking down a biofuel stock. That's right, biofuel. It's not been talked about a lot. It's kind of flown under the radar, but the stock we're breaking down today is on absolute fire. If you're new to the channel, do me a favor, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and turn on those notifications. And I ask for one favor every video, and that's to go down there and like the button. Just start clicking all the buttons. Let's break down this hot, clean energy stock that's been making a massive move over the last couple of weeks. Let's talk about it. All right, guys, let's break down this clean energy biofuel stock. Have you guys ever heard the saying, the ball never lies? What it applies to is pickup basketball games, and if you're playing some guy one-on-one and you go for a layup and you call a foul, and he says, no, dude, you're lying, you didn't get fouled, I didn't foul you. You say the ball never lies, and you throw in the ball. Basically what it means is he has one shot, and if he makes the shot, that means he's telling the truth. If he misses, he's a lying POS. And I believe the market has that same concept. That same concept applies to the stock market. The stock market never lies. And what the stock market is telling us right now is that EV is the future. Look at stocks like Tesla, up a couple thousand% in no time, boom, to the moon. How about NIO? How about Workhorse? How about a whole list of EV stocks, XPeng, Li Auto? They are all extremely expensive right now, and that's telling us that EV is the future of common consumer cars. But what happens when we transition from internal combustion engine vehicles and we transition to EV, and most of the vehicles on the road are EV? What happens to our old cars that are sitting on our driveway right now that we don't want to throw away? There's also going to be regulations in place saying that we can't be driving around these carbon emitting vehicles anymore, and we have to use some type of renewable energy that isn't emitting a bunch of carbon emissions into the air. What happens? And I think the stock we're going to be breaking down today is a company that can benefit from that exact situation. The stock we're going to be breaking down is GEVO. GEVO Inc. has made a massive move over the last couple of weeks and months, from 50 cents a share, couple thousand%, running up to almost $12 per share, a almost 2,000% move. It has been extremely strong, and I think the market's starting to realize that there is going to be a place for biofuel. Why? Because do you trust getting on an airplane that is battery powered? Maybe in the future that's going to be a thing, but right now I do not have any room for getting on an airplane that's not powered by some kind of internal combustion fuel. And I do think there's going to be regulations put in place saying that you have to limit the amount of carbon emissions that you're producing, whether that's airlines, whether that's cruise liners, whether that's me and you driving around in our 2008 Honda Accord like I got. That opens a door for a company like GEVO to start producing biofuel that produces almost zero carbon emissions and is renewable. Okay, so it's grown out of the ground, it's plant-based, and it lowers the carbon emissions. Let's break down the company. We're going to talk about whether it's a good investment at these levels after this huge move, my personal investing plan. We'll break down the fundamentals, and then we'll come back and break down the chart. Let's talk about it, baby. This video is going to be brought to us by Touchdown Trades University, a 3-in-1 trading and long-term investing course that I personally put together and teach. It offers swing trading, long-term investing, and options trading, and there's a $50 off coupon in the description of this video, and the price of admission also includes lifetime access to the private Discord and alert server. Check it out, link in the description. Also, check out the link in the description for Webull. My preferred broker is partnered up with the Touchdown Trades community and is offering us 4 free stocks, free money, literally free money, valued up to $3,700 if you use the link in the description to open a new account and make your first deposit of $100 or more. That is free money. Check it out, link in the description. So GEVO has been on fire, making a huge move from around 50 cents in September all the way up to almost $12 just yesterday. So is this move legit? I say yes and no. So biofuels are basically fuel that is formed by using plant matter, biomatter, and turning it into a fuel. This is big because we can keep the infrastructure that we already have in place. The gas stations, we could keep them and just start using biofuels instead of regular gasoline, instead of regular diesel. The infrastructure is going to have to change when we transition to EVs. Instead of having all these gas pumps, we're going to need EV charging stations all over the place. But I still think there's going to be a place for regular fuel types for the cars that aren't transitioned right away over to EV. It's going to be a long, slow, gradual process, the transition to EV. And I think there's going to be regulations in place capping carbon emissions, making a transition to a fuel source like biofuel almost necessary. So that's where a company like GEVO comes into play. Biofuels help reduce the carbon footprint of transportation and other industries by making the most of our planet's carbon cycle. Every gallon of biofuel that helps replace a gallon of fossil fuel helps reduce greenhouse gas emissions. Renewable biofuels are literally being developed to offset the use of every type of fossil fuel out there. We have sustainable aviation fuel, aka jet fuel, and this is the industry that I think is going to benefit the most. We'll talk about why in just a sec. But we also have isooctane. This gasoline replacement is already in use in Formula One racing in Europe. We have isobutanol, not sure what that is. We have renewable gasoline, so our common consumer vehicle gasoline right here. Renewable diesel, I think this is going to be big as well. Renewable diesel and ethanol. We've all heard about ethanol. It was probably the first renewable biofuel to come onto the scene because it was big in the Midwest, Iowa region. And whenever somebody runs for president, they have to go through Iowa first. The Iowa caucus is first, and ethanol is always a big talk in the Iowa caucus. There's a lot of lobbyists in the ethanol space. There's a lot of people in the Midwest who want biofuels to work that are going to be pushing it. All right, let's talk about the markets where this type of fuel makes the most sense. And if you're not understanding what type of fuel GEVO is going to be making, they're going to be taking corn or some type of renewable energy source and doing some kind of rocket scientist type crazy stuff and turning that corn or another bioenergy source into these fuel sources. We have marine. So I could see this being really applicable to cruise liners. We have sustainable airlines. I think it's going to be big in the airlines industry because I don't think we're anywhere near ready to be having EV airplanes. I have seen some talk of EV helicopters, EV airplanes, but you won't catch your boy on an EV airplane anytime soon. I would much rather get on an airplane propelled by biofuels than a battery at this point. Maybe it's going to happen in the future, but I could see biofuels being big in the airlines or something like fuel cells. We also have cleaner cities being powered by biofuels. We have private aviation, so your smaller aircraft. We have small engines and racing vehicles. It's already being used in the Formula One racing in Europe right now. GEVO already has some pretty big customers and partners in place, which is a really good sign for a small company that's just getting their feet underneath them. Right now, we have companies like BP, the Air Force, the U.S. Army has partners and customers, FedEx, Phillips 66, Air BP, the Lufthansa. So it's nice to see that some big companies are coming on board with GEVO. So GEVO was founded in 2005, headquartered in Colorado. So remember this number right here, $400 million in intellectual property. So GEVO is saying that their market cap is going to be made up of $400 million in patents and intellectual property. And I do believe that number is going to be accurate. So remember that number. It's going to be important in just a second. Burning of fossil fuels release carbon emissions. So GEVO has done something pretty genius, and they're taking the biofuel. Instead of burning it to release energy, they're doing the exact opposite to extract that energy, which releases the energy that you need without releasing the carbon emissions. So we must do the reverse of burning, but with renewable low carbon energy, and we need a renewable carbon source, and that's going to be the biofuels. A new paradigm, renewable energy transformed and stored in liquid form. So it's going to be able to use by the same gas tank that you have in your car now, that the airplanes have now. It's just going to be emitting less carbon emissions. Potential to replace whole gallons with premium fuel. Potential exists to eliminate the carbon footprint. All right, let's talk about the numbers and whether this makes sense for a long-term investment at these prices. So right now, GEVO has a market cap of $1.4 billion on sales of only $11 million, giving it a price-to-sales ratio of over 120. That being said, I think there is going to be a place for GEVO. There's going to be a place for biofuels in the future of energy sources. I absolutely believe that. However, that being said, this $1.4 billion market cap is not validated by what we're seeing from GEVO today. They say they have $400 million in intellectual property, aka patents. And I believe that because I think what they're doing is really genius and has a lot of potential. But they only have sales of $11 million. So we know that $1.4 billion market cap isn't made up of any revenue. It's not made up of any profit. So what is it made up of? 400 of it could be made up of the intellectual property. So they're saying they have $1 billion out there of market cap. Where is that coming from? Is that going to be coming from future growth, projected growth? Maybe. But for me, I would need to see a pullback. We do have a lot of support right here at the 750 area. I like it for a swing trade off that level. I'd be a buyer under $8, looking for 750 to hold. My stop down under $7, and then I'd be looking for this thing to bounce back up towards $10 and $11 for a swing trade. Long term, I would need to see more information coming out about the jet fuel being ready to go. The R&D is coming, the process is taking shape, the R&D is taking shape, and it's ready to go to market before I made an investment at those price points, because I just think it's a little expensive right now based on what we know. We really don't know much. We really don't know how close this is to being able to come to market. We have no idea. We know that it's being used in cars already. We know that ethanol is kind of a dud and is not going to be the future of renewable biofuels. So where are we going with this? I need more information before I can make a long-term investment. But as a swing trade, 750 is looking really nice. A dip under $8, buy in front of that 750 support, and look for that bounce back towards $10. I like that a lot. But in order for me to get long for a long-term investment, I need more information from GEVO. I have one question for you guys. Would you get on an EV airplane today? If you want a trip to Hawaii, and in order to get there, you got to ride on an electric airplane, would you do so? Leave the answer down in the comments for me. I'm interested to see what that is going to look like. All right, guys, that's going to wrap up the video on GEVO. I think it's promising, but I'm not sure if it's there yet. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Until next time, peace.